Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome in or welcome back. Thank you for supporting me and my channel and sharing your time and energy with me today. My name is Amanda, and today we have a summer solstice reading, and the theme of today's reading is all about your spiritual transformation, where you are currently in that transformation, what the next step or next chapter involves, the actions you might take, and general inspiration and advice from Spirit about this spiritual journey. And remember to take whatever messages are aligning and confirming for you and leave the rest for someone else. And we have 3 soul paths to choose from today. If you are ready to get into it, click on the timestamp for your reading in the description box or pinned comment section. However, if you'd like me to introduce you to the soul paths, let me do that now. For soul path number 1, we have the Rider-Waite Tarot with the Kyanite stone. For soul path number 2, we have the Steampunk Tarot with the lace agate stone. And for soul path number 3, we have the Mermaid Tarot with the Prasiolite stone. So now use your intuition to choose the soul path that is calling to you the most, then click on the timestamp in the description box or pin comments to skip to your reading, and we will see you over there. Hello, soul path 1, welcome to your reading. So you chose the Everyday Witch, the Rider-Waite Tarot. Interesting, I said Everyday Witch, with the Kyanite stone. Now we are going to get an opening energy before we get into the tarot. And this is just a general energy of the reading, and we'll see if it ties in to the tarot messages. So we have prosperity begins. So I feel like you've done a lot of work up until this point, and I get rewards for hard work, rewards for your efforts coming in, possibly over the next 3 months, maybe into summer and fall season. But I feel like you've planted a seed, or you've done some work to be able to plant new seeds so that you can earn or gain some kind of reward. Could be monetary, it could be something that you're looking to improve in your life, in your physical environment, in your physical health. Maybe you are eating better, you are spending your money in a different way. I feel like you've done some kind of overhaul. And this is the moment where you start to see rewards for that. That could be in alignment with your spiritual growth or your spiritual transformation. And that could be the physical manifestation of that hard effort. So I get the feeling that you may have felt lacking at some point. You might have had some self-doubt, maybe some fear, some insecurities. And so I almost wonder if part of your spiritual transformation has been to transmute and heal something, or to overhaul something within self, so that you can see things form in the 3-dimensional world. A better job, better health, more abundance in all aspects. So let's get an astrology card and see if that plays into this at all. We have Aries. So you could be an Aries, and we do have another number 1. So I think the next 3 months will bring in a lot of new opportunities for you to explore your spirituality, or at least put your newfound spirituality to the test. And again, you could be an Aries, so you could have I'm getting a drive and a desire to move, to work, to put effort into something. There's a willingness here. There is a divine masculine fire within you. And because Aries are cardinal signs, and Aries is the start of the astrological year, This is almost feeling like a brand new cycle for you, a spiritual cycle, where, again, like I said, you were putting all of your lessons, you're integrating something and you're putting it to work. You are now applying that. You're applying what you've learned. You are applying what you desire and no longer have blocks to that desire. So super cool. I'm being asked to pull another oracle card from another deck. Let's see. We'll get a card from the angels and ancestors. Oracle cards here. Spirit, could we get a card? Thank you. All right. That's kind of cool. Look at this. Learn from spiritual experiences, the great teacher. So I don't know if that is you or if you've learned from a great teacher. But I do get teacher, student, you've learned something, you're applying something, and now maybe you are helping others because of that spiritual quest, that journey, that awakening. There's a freedom here that you have gained and earned because of the work that you've done, the awareness that you've brought, the consciousness that you've brought to your particular situation. Doves could definitely be a bird to watch out for, white feathers. We also have what looks like a phoenix rising from ashes in this card, but it looks like a white bird to me, so white birds could be significant for you. So let's get some cards out now. 4 cards. First card out will be your current, where you're at in your current journey. We've got the Hanged Man in reverse. Next card out is the next phase you're moving into. Next phase for Soul Path 1, please. We have the 8 of Pentacles. Actions to take or not take. The Knight of Wands in the reverse. And general advice from Spirit. We have the 5 of Swords in reverse. I always like to see that card in reverse. And we end your reading on the bottom of the deck with the Ace of Pentacles. So just Spirit confirming that yes, the opportunities are here. The new chapters are here. I just feel like a doorway has opened for you. And you are somehow freed, spiritually freed to explore something new. Now, where you're currently at, though, it might feel like there's been a delay, or there has been delays, but I also feel a sense of enlightenment here. You have had, or come across, or experienced, or come into some kind of enlightenment because of the sacrifices that you've made up until now. Maybe you have limited yourself in some way, or have really pushed yourself outside of comfort zones. You have really tried to give yourself a new perspective. You've looked at situations with a new set of eyes. And so because of that, you are seeing things from a different point of view. You're no longer seeing things the way that you used to. And that has been part of this awakening or enlightenment, is because the willingness you had up until now to surrender to some kind of process, to surrender to how you felt, and surrender to your shadow side, what the inner child needs, whatever it might have been. I feel like you've challenged your own status quo, and you've evolved beyond where you came from or where you started from. And I think that has a lot to do with the hard work that you've put in. And you have not only applied yourself in this process, but you have really dedicated yourself to this endeavor, to the point now where you're moving into mastery of this skill set, this enlightenment, this spiritual discovery. You have changed significantly because of it. Regardless of how easy or difficult or challenging or uncomfortable things made you, you have really pushed yourself here. I see it. And you have moved from an apprenticeship to now applying that skill in the world, in your life, to be able to start creating things that you were never able to before, because you've built up a new skill set, a spiritual skill set. You have new tools in your tool belt. You have new processes, new ways of doing things, new ways of thinking, new ways of applying yourself. And I think this is going to bring in some fresh new things for you. And it's clear with the Ace of Pentacles in your reading, we started and ended with it. So this has opened up a brand new door for you. This has freed you from your past self. And the Knight of Wands is in reverse is not pushing yourself too hard. Because if we push ourselves too hard, too fast, for too long, we're going to lose motivation, the lack to continue, because we've burnt ourselves out. Pushing so hard, pushing for results, pushing to gain a certain outcome. So we want to make sure that we're tempering our energy levels, we're tempering our passions to achieve. We don't want to get into a mode of constantly feeling like we're broken and to constantly try to fix every little seam and crack. We want to be okay with some things not being perfect. We are human and we will never be perfect. So yes, do what you can along your spiritual journey, but don't expect perfection ever. And also don't expect the healing to finish at any point. This isn't a destination, this is a journey, so long as we are alive. So don't push yourself too hard, is the message I'm getting with the Knight of Wands in reverse. But continue to have that passion in you to continue to explore. And don't be afraid to share what you're learning with others. Now, you could be somebody who teaches others along your path. You could express this journey in some way, creative way, through an art project, through writing or journaling. I almost wonder if it's not just about applying this knowledge, but it's about sharing it as well. And this isn't to say shove the information or the message down people's throats or force them to listen. This is about sharing your journey in a casual way to inspire people, if that is something that you're being called to do, obviously. And the advice with the Five of Swords in reverse is to stay away from those who do not have your best interests at heart and who will try to keep you in conflict. There could be some contentious people around you, and maybe this has been part of your awakening. But because of how this came out in the spread, you've got your awakening here and your own work. And at the very end, it's like this conflict has been pushed away, pushed outside of your zone of enlightenment. So it's almost like you have to keep that at an arm's length. And that could be anything from people around you trying to engage in conflict or conversations that aren't productive. This could also be if you are an influencer, for example, or if you are starting to share your story, to just be aware of people in the comment section that are trying to tamp you down and trying to demotivate you in your efforts. And if you do not feel comfortable sharing, then don't. But don't do it out of fear. Do it because it's just not something you're called to do. But don't do it because you are afraid of stirring the pot. You are afraid of embarrassment. You are afraid of being called out or criticized. Those are all valid feelings. But don't let the haters get you down is what I'm getting with this message, especially if you're being called to share this journey with someone, with a group, with your followers. And if you're simply not ready to do that, then don't. You can use your own discernment to take whatever action you feel most comfortable with at any given time. But I feel like this could really fuel something new for you, a new project that turns into monetary gain somehow, or inspires others in some way. This could be quite healing for you as well, to share with others and hear their story, and to help others in that way, to be of service too. So don't feel defeated by those who are trying to keep you small, who are trying to diminish the hard work, to break free from this energy. I feel like you have broken free from some of that energy. So continue that journey and don't let anybody tell you otherwise, that what you're doing is wrong, that what you're doing is silly in some way. This is your story, your journey. It has nothing to do with anyone else. So let's get some clarifiers now. And again, we have another 5. 5 of Wands, so more competitive energy, more disagreement energy. Maybe you've moved away from something that once, or it helped others define you. Like, oh, this is who this person is and this is what they believe. I feel like you've significantly shifted some kind of way of being or way of seeing things, which is making you act and feel differently in a good way for you. But the people that you met or have connected with previously in a certain state or in a certain circumstance in your life, you may have outgrown certain people, which could be why the conflict and the tension arises through this spiritual awakening. So do your best to keep things diplomatic and clear. State facts about yourself. Oh, interesting. That did something weird there. I'm clarifying. Am I clarifying? Or are we just getting additional cards? We're just getting additional... We'll clarify. So the 3 of Swords came out as a clarifier for the Hanged Man, even though I wasn't ready for it. So I almost wonder if you weren't ready for something to happen, for something to end. I feel like the spiritual journey was triggered by some kind of painful experience that you had with somebody else or multiple people. This could be past relationships. This could be people in your familial relationships, your friendships. But there's something here that triggered you to go on a bit of a spiritual quest to figure out what happened. Why did this happen? Where did I go wrong? Why am I picking the same people over and over again? And it's like you brought awareness to that situation and decided enough's enough. I don't want to be here anymore. And maybe that's part of that 5 of Swords energy. Is you decided that you want something better for yourself. And the only way that you can do that is to heal old wounds and to make friends with your shadow side and to heal your inner child. 8 of Swords, pardon me, not 8 of Swords. Although interesting that I said that. Oh my gosh. We have the 8 of Swords in reverse. Wow, but we also have the Queen of Pentacles. So I'm going to keep that out, and it was in reverse as well. So that one, the Queen of Pentacles came out first. And the Queen of Pentacles is this energy of inner resource, of knowing what you have within yourself to be able to move through challenge and adversity in life, especially when things in the 3-dimensional world isn't going so well. This is also knowing your worth and really understanding how to apply that worth and standing up for that worth and enjoying the abundance because you've been able to do that. However, I feel like this 3 of Swords situation really knocked you off your throne, metaphorically speaking. And it really got you to question what your worth was. It really had you doubting yourself. It really had your confidence shaken. And maybe it had you in this 8 of Swords energy, where you were going over the situation over and over and over again, trying to figure out how you could have done things differently. But I think in this new chapter, you're releasing that because you're finally putting work into figuring that out. And you don't need another person for that. This is all about you and how you approach the challenge, approach your way of thinking about it. Whatever you're doing is beautiful. I just have to say, you're doing an amazing job. I think your spirit team is really proud of you for doing this work. It is not easy work, especially coming off the back of heartbreak and a painful experience that could have really stopped you in your tracks. It almost did with the Queen of Pentacles. but you kind of stood up and said, no, I'm not doing this. I am not letting these people and this experience determine who I am and how I move forward. So you've put in the work. You've dug deep. And you have or are stepping into this energy of doing that work to release those limiting beliefs and all the things that keep you small. All the things that tell you you can't. You are so determined in this. If you're not an Aries, then I think that's why the Aries comes out, because there's so much power and boldness and determination to achieve. And I think you are learning a lot about yourself in this process. So Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands in the upright reverse. Knight of Wands. You are taking the blindfold off. You are no longer on autopilot. You have awakened, my friends. Beautiful. And the Judgment in reverse. So the actions I think you need to take is to come to some kind of radical acceptance of how things have affected you in both the not so great and the great parts of this experience. This is an opportunity to rise above, to level up, to forgive yourself in order to move forward, to not judge yourself. Judgment is a snake shedding its skin, essentially. This is a moment of rebirth. And what's interesting about a snake shedding its skin is that it needs to do that in order to grow. But also, the pattern has been imprinted on the snake from the previous skin, and it continues to grow with the snake. So it's like use these lessons to add to your story, to enrich your soul's journey, rather than let it defeat you and unmotivate you, or let it keep you down. This is rising above and connecting more in with your divine or higher self, and having excitement in that process. And Judgment is Pluto energy. And Pluto is the great renewer. It might be difficult. Through that difficulty, you can be reborn in a new way. And I feel you are being called to a higher purpose, is what I'm getting with this. And it's almost like you're in denial of that purpose. Even though you might feel passionate about it, you're trying to logically figure out, how is that going to work? I'm feeling called to do this new thing now that I'm in this new headspace, new spiritual space. But how do I apply that and run with it? How do I move forward with that? I hear the call, but I can't take action right now. So I think it's just about being patient in that process and not trying to force anything, and to explore, if only for yourself, to explore what that looks like and how that might play out, following the breadcrumbs and continuing to lean into the things that make you feel good and inspired and excited. So 5 of Swords. And there's almost a vulnerability in that as well. Especially if you are being called to do something in the external world. For example, share your story. That's a very vulnerable thing. So I feel like there's some people here that need to explore a new calling. And then there's other people here that not only need to explore that new calling, but start to get vulnerable in that effort, because it might require some vulnerability on your part to share your story, to be of service to others. I think there's 2 different ways that could play out. Ace of Swords in the upright. Yeah, that's good. Ace of Swords in the upright, clarifying the 5 of Swords in reverse. Beautiful. That means that you've come to some kind of clarity. You're rebuilding your way of communication, your way of logically thinking about something, your understanding about what's going on in this dynamic, and you're choosing a new way of thinking, especially coming from the 8 of Swords in reverse. You're deciding that, no, I'm not going to let these people tell me what to think about myself. Tell me where to go in my direction and what's best. I'm going to claim defeat from the people that do not have my best interests at heart and who aren't productive and who even have no weight in my life. Meaning that if a stranger makes a nasty comment on something that you do, you almost get to this point of, who are they? So it's almost like you're only taking information or criticism or opinions from those who you trust most. And I think one of those people is you. You are trusting yourself so much from this that you are having new ideas about how to approach things. You are having new ways of communicating because you're more clear about who you are and where you're going and why. And you are okay with claiming defeat on people who have no impact on your long-term success or in your life at all. You are letting all of that go and being okay with not being it for everyone, of not maybe even people-pleasing. You're letting that go because people-pleasing causes you to stay trapped because you can't fully express who you are out of fear of being criticized. So it's best not to say anything at all. It's best not to share my ideas. It's best to stay quiet. I don't think you're doing that anymore. You're living out loud, and it's going to bring in so many new opportunities for you. It's going to open so many doors of experiences, of new people, of financial opportunities. But it is not going to come quickly or easily. Because Pentacles energy is something that you have to commit to in the long term. This isn't something that you can do and say, okay, I've done a day's worth of work, so give me my rewards. I don't think you're like that, because I see that in the Eight of Pentacles. I see that in the Queen of Pentacles. I see that in the Aries card. You are willing to take this seed and run with it, or walk with it. But you're willing to put in that effort over the long term so that you can be a better version of yourself, live a happier life for yourself, and maybe even be in service to others, to inspire others to do the same. Really powerful stuff. So I'm going to get a final card from here. Happy, happy. That's good, and we have another 8 here. 2 plus 6 is 8. We have 8 and 8. So 8 could be a significant number for you. And we'll get one more. I think you're going to be a lot happier in this new chapter, this next leg of the journey than you were before. Much happier, because you've done so much work. You've done so much work on yourself. And you are the source of your own happiness. And I think you are doing that. Thank you. Clear the air. This is what you're doing, essentially. Is clearing the air. Not necessarily, I mean, there's some people, I think, that will never understand, that will never get it, that will never accept things. But I don't want to say you don't care, but you've let go of that fight because you never will please everybody. And so, yes, you'll do your best to be respectful and diplomatic in that process and prevent things from escalating. But you're not going to stay in this loop. You're going to clear the air and move on. And that's going to free up so much energy. And this is a purification of the soul here, a renewal and healing on so many levels. So don't be concerned if there's chaos that happens because of that. In this instance, I feel that it's positive, very positive. It's shaking things up so you don't become stagnant. And when your field your energetic field, your physical field, your personal space is cluttered with things that no longer serve your path or your well-being or your highest good, then it's difficult for new things and new experiences and opportunities to enter because there is no space for it. Because you are expending energy in places that are either draining your energy or are simply just taking up space. And that's not to criticize. Sometimes it is a natural way of life. We outgrow things, we move beyond things, but we still have those emotional attachments to things because they've been good, these people have been good to us, they've done nothing wrong, but they don't really align with us anymore. So that might be the difficult part of this, is that certain things may naturally fall away. And it's time to release that old stuff and people who don't empower you. And thunderstorms tend to clear out the dust and energizes the air and the earth. It refreshes the energy. So even though it might look scary and chaotic and wild, renewal happens because of it. I think you're going to be a lot more fulfilled for sure. I think you're freeing yourself from whatever shackles happened in your past and you are being liberated. You're feeling more liberated. But take pride in the accomplishments and doing the work, doing great work, providing exceptional service to yourself and others. So Soul Path 1, this is what I have for you. I hope you found some clarity and guidance today, and with gratitude, I'm sending you all my love, and we'll see you in your next reading. Hello, Soul Path 2. Welcome to your reading. You chose the lace agate stone with the Steampunk Tarot. And before we get into your tarot, we're going to pull an energy card to get an overall vibe for your reading. And we're looking at your spiritual transformation, your spiritual journey, your spiritual awakening, and where you're coming from, where you're headed, and any advice or inspiration Spirit might be able to bring you at this time. Spirit, could we get an opening energy for Soul Path 2, please? Soul Path 2, opening energy. Thank you. Are you hesitating to take some kind of spiritual journey? We will see. Okay. You have discontent and boredom. This is the Four of Cups in the traditional tarot. I feel like you're a little bit possibly bored or disappointed where you're at right now. And I feel like you don't feel you know what to do to fix it, to change it. Maybe this is circumstantial. And you just don't really like what you see in front of you. Maybe you're feeling a little apathetic about life. Like, yeah, it's good enough. But I'm not really, it's not something that I jump out of bed about or for. I do it because I have to, or I do it because it's here, or I do it because it's good enough, and I don't really know what else exists, is what I'm kind of feeling there. But I question whether you desire more and whether this moment in time is encouraging you to explore what else there is, the possibilities. Because when we're discontent or bored with something or feeling apathetic, it's either a couple of things. I mean, there could be many more things, but it could be because in your soul, you are wanting something better than, and what you are experiencing is not matching that. Or you simply need to shake things up to instill some kind of excitement, joy, challenge, stepping out of a discomfort zone, about chasing something that is more than the day-to-day routines. This is exploring your true heart's desires. Maybe you have a desire to rock climb, or travel, or draw, or start a dog walking service. So I feel like there's an underlying desire here that is not being expressed or explored, which is why this feeling of apathy is so strong. But we will see. Let's get an astrology card. I keep wanting to say astrological card, and I keep getting tongue-tied on that word today. I don't know why. We'll get an astrology card and see what else. Taurus. You could be a Taurus. This is an earth sign. Second house. It rules beauty, values, desires, even self-worth. It's very secure and reliable energy, responsible energy. It's also very patient energy too. But it also can be resistant to change, a little stubborn and narrow-minded at times. Now, I don't know if that is you or if that is just the energy that you're in at the moment, or maybe you are connected to a Taurus. But let's see. Maybe there's a resistance to change your situation. And maybe that's because you don't know what that looks like. But it's like you feel kind of disappointed about the current situation, but you don't really know how to change it and what that looks like. Or maybe you're simply resisting the change because you don't want things to change. You're comfortable, you are happy to a degree. You're happy enough. So your spiritual transformation may not have happened yet. So we have the protection guardian. Drop your shields. Maybe you are nervous about being vulnerable to the process of exploration, of spiritual exploration, of exploring new things. I feel you've created a really nice, comfortable zone for yourself, and there could be a very good reason for that. I don't want to judge that at all, or say that that's a bad thing. But I feel like Spirit is really asking you to open up a little bit, because I think your soul is desiring more, but in order for you to do that, you have to allow a little bit in. Whether that's experiences or people, you can still have your guard up until such time you feel comfortable trusting yourself, trusting others. And I think it's also dropping any shame, resistance, or fear that is standing between you and your opportunities of joy and fun. That is typically what the summer solstice brings in, is that joyfulness, that playfulness, that abundance. And know that you don't need to hide who you are. And understand that whatever shame or embarrassment you've experienced in your past, hopefully it's not in your present. And you can really draw close to that. I think that is going to be part of your spiritual transformation, is healing that shame and embarrassment, which is maybe why the guards are up. And so it's kind of moving from a fear-based, kind of energetic protection force field into something that is protective but also open-hearted. And knowing how to guard yourself even with an open heart. Understanding that opening yourself up does not mean your past experiences will repeat themselves, because you have learned something from that process. You have learned who to trust and who not to trust, and what that looks like. So it's kind of refining your shield, refining those guards of protection. And again, understanding when to let the guards down so that you can have some joyful experiences and kind of shake things up a little bit. So let's take a look at your spiritual journey in a little more detail now with the tarot. And maybe this is an energy that you're moving through at the moment. So Queen of Cups in the reverse is your current energy, or the current place that you're in along your spiritual journey. The Queen of Cups in reverse can be an energy of fearing vulnerability, of being overwhelmed emotionally with the outside world, of understanding or learning how to understand your emotions and how to move through them, how to manage them, how to mitigate and how to soothe, and also how to appropriately fill your own cup up and let go of trying to fill up other people's. Not to say that you can't, but as the aviation saying goes, you have to put your mask on before you can help others. And so in the way that you are helping others, are you helping yourself to that same degree? If no, I think that is where you're currently at, is understanding how to do that for yourself. Self-care, without isolation, without protectiveness. I feel like you are a very sensitive person, which is why you may have locked yourself up a little bit emotionally, because your sensitivity can really be triggered when you're in the wrong environments with the wrong people. So I think it's not about blocking yourself off completely. It's understanding how to remove yourself or manage those emotions in environments that are not ideal, and learning to move into ones that are more ideal and that feel better for you. So to not paint everybody with the same brush that you used in the past or have had experiences with in the past. And let's just see what you're moving into. What energy is... I think that one was going to jump out. 7 of Pentacles. So this is the energy that you're moving into along your spiritual journey, is the 7 of Pentacles. This energy of being really logical about your approach to who you allow, who's good for you and who's not, especially when it comes to your close circle of friends, of co-workers that you choose to spend time with, and those who you're attached to but you can't really completely detach from, and learning how to manage those situations or limit yourself and the time spent in those situations. So this is really good assessment energy. This is taking a step back and looking at things from a very data point of view, a very rooted point of view, very Taurus energy, where you're looking at what's working, what's not, and understanding who you are, what environments you thrive in, what people you thrive in, and what you don't, and understanding that both of those things can exist. But it's learning to lean into those good things a little bit more and nurturing yourself a little bit more, learning how to cope with stress when it comes to those situations that aren't ideal, and also limiting yourself or preparing yourself when you know you're going to be in situations that are not ideal. I definitely get an HSP vibe, and I'm an HSP, and I didn't realize I was an HSP until the pandemic hit. And I don't really know how I even got onto the topic of HSP. I didn't even know that it existed. But it gave me so much information about where my anxiety stemmed from. I didn't understand why I couldn't spend hours at a party with 50 people, and why talking to people drained me, and why I was sensitive to noises and smells, and I just thought that's just how the world was, and that I was just not coping well. I was in a very Queen of Cups in reverse energy, where I was just overwhelmed and exhausted all the time. And then I realized, oh, I have this trait. And so now it made so much more sense that I could take things from an emotional standpoint, and I could turn it into something that I could build off of and understand, okay, if I know I'm going to a concert on Friday night, then I'm going to get a lot of rest a couple days before. And I'm not going to fill my weekend with stuff to do, because that concert is going to drain my energy. So I'm not only going to prepare for that concert, have a good time at that concert, but also care for myself the following days so that I can have downtime, quiet time. And I'm not constantly putting myself into situations that are going to overwhelm me, that are going to drain my energy. So I think that's the message here, is to find a way to ground yourself and logically assess situations that are helpful, and I don't want to say harmful, but hindrances. And I think that is the next step in your journey, is to get into that data and to start applying that data that you are starting to learn in a very practical way. So let's get some action steps, if that is not already an action. One card for Soul Path 3. One card, not one path. Oh, there's your Four of Cups again. Okay. So, Four of Cups in your action is to, I think the action here is to not accept this as good enough. To not accept good enough. To try for a little better. And I think this assessment is going to help with that. And bringing an awareness or an understanding to that. And while yes, we might not be able to get out of all the situations, we can't live 100% happy, positive, joyful life. That is not human nature. But at least we can find more of that in our life. And make choices where we can to lean more into those opportunities that level us up, that make us feel good, that make us feel refreshed, that make us feel rejuvenated and excited, and really fill our cups up in that way. And not take things at face value to be like, well, this is all I get, or this is all that I'm worthy of, or this is all that there is. I think there's more. So this next leg of the journey is about exploring what that more looks like. But it requires a little bit of vulnerability. It requires a little bit of determination and grounding yourself in a little bit of rationale, data. Okay, and this one came, the Seven of Swords came in sideways, but this is kind of more inspiration for you. Or at least advice. I think there's a sense of trust in yourself that you need to rebuild. Trusting what you know is good for you. Letting that be okay even. Giving yourself permission to, using our concert example, to go to that concert, but then also not plan anything for the rest of the weekend. Trusting that that is your best strategy for managing your emotions, but also having the best time. I think both can exist. And Spirit's trying to tell you in this reading that both exist. This isn't just the way of the way of things. You can find a beautiful balance between both things. So this is coming into your truth. And trusting yourself. Trusting what you know is good for you. Trusting what you know who is good for you. Bottom of the deck is the World. I think you are ready for a shift. You are ready to do big, bold things. And whatever this spiritual journey or experience has been for you, I feel like you are feeling a little done with it, which is maybe why the discontent and boredom cards are here, the cards of apathy, and yeah, I guess it's good enough, is because that is a signal, a sign that you're ready to move to something greater, something bolder, more courageous, something that aligns a little more with your truth. And maybe you feel a little reserved in doing so. This Seven of Swords reminds me of having those shields up, of I'm just going to keep my cards close to my chest and I'm not going to share them with anyone. It's a very reserved energy. But how can you lean a little into those vulnerabilities, into a little bit more of your truth? I do get a sense of fear here, so I will not discount that. But I will encourage you to explore that fear a little bit. Challenge that fear a little bit. Because I think in the right environments with the right people, you will thrive. So let's get some clarifiers now for Soul Path 4. Pardon me, Soul Path 2, where am I? 4. 4s seem to be significant in this reading for some, well, there's only 2 4s and 2 7s, interesting. 4477 could be, or 4747, 47 is 12. 2 and 1 is 3. This is expansive energy. Any of those numbers could be relevant. We have the Magician in reverse. Because you're feeling overwhelmed, because you are maybe taking on more emotions from others than you have capacity for at this time, I feel like it's really blocking your creative energy. It's blocking that energy to manifest the things that you want for your life. So I feel like this is the catalyst to move forward, is because I do feel you want more. And what I think you don't understand is that you have all of the resources that you need within you to obtain the things that you want. I keep hearing, what I have is good enough. Why do I want more? I think you do, but there is fear to obtaining that, to chasing that, to exploring that. So I think you have to trust that nudge, that intuitive nudge to explore, that intuitive nudge to get a little vulnerable, to blow that shame and fear and embarrassment, whatever those limiting beliefs are, out of the water. And say, no, I'm not going to allow those lower energies to keep me stuck in good enough. And sure, there might be some things that are good enough, but there's a feeling in this reading that you want a little better, at least in 1 or 2 areas of your life. But I do feel, especially on the emotional plane, you want to feel more fulfilled. You want to feel more trusting. And so if anything, that is what I think you deserve. You deserve to trust and be trusted. You deserve to feel good and to be an emotional support to others. You deserve to enjoy life and not just stay in this emotional energy of good enough. And maybe that's what you feel is all you're worth. So something else to explore there as well. 7 of Pentacles. Apologies for the dog barking next door. We have the 2 of Cups. So this is this alchemy. Once you get this calculation right, or once you figure out the data and you start applying the data in practical ways, you're going to find a really beautiful balance in the way you feel, in the way you explore or experience life. And you're no longer going to feel as drained. You're going to feel balanced and happy and harmonious. And you're even going to step into a higher understanding so that you can do more of this and almost repeat this. You're going to understand the formulation of what you need to be everything you want to be. So 4 of Cups in the upright. Let's pair this with strongest, please. Let's pair this with a clarifier and see what else is going on under this 4 of Cups. Hanged Man. Yes, this is a moment where you're feeling stuck and a little bit delayed because there's something that needs to be cleared here. There's some almost surrender to this new process, this new path that you're being called to explore, rather than settling. Surrendering to, okay, I am not feeling fulfilled. I'm not feeling completely energetic about my life. I am not having the experiences that I want to experience in life. That is this catalyst for that spiritual awakening. And that is part of your spiritual journey. Because you are disappointed. And so how can you surrender to what's happening? And surrender does not mean give up. Surrender means letting go of the outcome or the expectations or the results. And not predetermining those outcomes. But instead to explore and almost test to see if that experience is true or not. But again, it all comes down to understanding first, understanding the data, taking that step back, that assessment of why things are where they are, why things were what they were, and how you can integrate all of that information and those lessons to be able to shed some light on the subject and to try again from a different place. So I feel like until that happens, there's almost this delay in getting what you want because there's some work to do. 7 of Swords. And Ace of Cups in the reverse is a new chance to feel something differently. Having a different perspective, understanding your emotional self a little bit more deeply. But again, it requires a little bit of vulnerability and coming into your own truth. And shedding some old emotional feelings that are keeping you down, keeping you stuck, keeping you sad. It's working through those emotions, processing those emotions, healing those emotions, understanding those emotions a little bit better. And maybe there, again, I continue to get resistance because I feel like you feel there is only one way or this way or that way to do something or to feel something, and there's nothing else. There's no other possibilities. I think Spirit is telling you there is possibility here. And there is a new way there are some new feelings ready to be explored, ready to be shaken up. Your spiritual transformation is definitely something of an emotional exploration, of an emotional awakening, of offering yourself a little more care, of healing some old wounds. And this is something that I feel has been kind of hanging around for some time, which is maybe why the 4 of Cups is so present in your reading, is because I think you've reached an end point with this. You don't want to feel this anymore. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So it's time to logically assess things. Look a little bit deeper. What do you believe to be true? What do you have the emotional capacity for? Do you want your emotional capacity to be? What do you want to feel? And how can we move a little closer to that and bridge that gap between where we are and where we want to be? But I think vulnerability is the underlying key to this. But I think it requires a little bit of healing first. And a little bit of acceptance of who you are, why you are where you are, because I think there is good purpose for these 4 of Cups to be here, of this guard to be up. And I feel like you do have a choice, because the Ace of Cups is here on the shelf. But this person is only looking at what's on the table. So if you change your perspective, or maybe try to work on feeling differently, I feel like your heart will open up a little bit to life. And if this message isn't resonating for you, then this is most likely not for you. So if it resonates, great. I feel like this is a really difficult energy. So it was a bit of a difficult message to deliver, but I always trust that the messages are going to find somebody when they need it the most. And I hope that is true. So soulmates. This could have something to do with a previous relationship and you wanting. And we do have the Two of Cups here. And for you to step into a new relationship that is balanced and harmonious, new choices need to be made. But we need to understand why we made certain choices in the past and where we were emotionally so that we can prevent or avoid making that same decision again. 41 is a number here. Could be significant for somebody. And the Seven of Pentacles can also be about values too. So assessing your values and what you feel you're worthy of and why, and what you want to be worthy of. And maybe this partnership that I'm seeing here is something that you have to work on for yourself first. If you are single and looking for that, if you are looking for a soulmate, if you're looking for a harmonious partnership and have yet to find it, or have had relationships that kind of got your guard up, or they were disappointing in some way, or they never lived up to your expectations. Are you falling in love with somebody's potential? And are you able to give the same love to yourself? And this is not about being perfect. This is about knowing your worth, respecting who you are and what value you bring to the table, and also understanding your limits, your personal limits, your emotional limits, and who might be able to offer that to you. And soulmates doesn't necessarily have to be a love relationship. It could also be friends. It could also be chosen family. And soulmates, whether we had a soulmate that didn't work out or whether we're moving into exploring a new soulmate, these are people who really inspire us to change in ways that are significant. They're so compelling, or they break you open so that you can finally claim who you were meant to be. And so I wonder if that is part of this equation somehow, is that you are claiming who you were meant to be, rather than settling for things that are lacking, or disappointment, or assuming that's all there is. Okay, one more card to end your reading. Message for Soul Path 2. It fell on the floor. Okay, go slow, take time with the fogged in energy. So that kind of gives me that feeling at the beginning of, I want change, but I don't know how to do it. And even with the Seven of Swords, there's a little bit of a foggy energy there. And so I think you're in this place of coming out of the fog because you are questioning, because you have the drive and desire to move things along, to improve things, to explore this transformation a little bit more. And until this, I think the Seven of Pentacles, this assessment energy, is really important on this journey. And that is going to take time. It is Pentacle energy. Pentacles are a very slow-moving energy because growth is slow. I think this spiritual transformation will be one that is slow, not one that comes in like a hot comet. This is something that is slow-moving, so I feel patience is going to be required. Time, you're going to need to make friends with time here. And what's interesting is that this boat is navigating the waters, which is metaphorical to this experience, is that you are navigating your own emotional waters at this time. And things aren't clear, so we don't want to rush this process. We don't want to move too quickly until such time that we become a little more clear. So I think there's a sense of radical acceptance that needs to happen with yourself to understand that even though I don't know where I'm going or how to navigate this, that I'm doing my best to move through this, to understand it, to assess, to bring harmony back in my life, and to not settle. And almost surrendering to this moment. These people aren't paddling. They are instead waiting it out. Waiting for the fog to clear. Because if they continue to paddle in foggy weather, they might hit rock. So surrendering to the fact that maybe you can't do anything at this time, and that this is a moment to really observe and assess what it is you need and want, and how to restore your emotional energy again. So this is what I have for you, Soul Path 2. I hope you found some clarity and guidance today, and with gratitude, I'm sending you my love, and we'll see you in your next reading. Hello, Soul Path 3. Welcome to your reading. So you chose the Mermaid Tarot with the Prasiolite. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's essentially green amethyst. It's kind of cool. So before we get into your tarot, we are going to get an opening energy to see where you're at, or where kind of the energy of the reading today. And we're looking at your spiritual transformation, where you're at on your journey currently and what's next, as well as some inspiration and advice from Spirit. So could we get a opening energy card for Soul Path 3, please? Soul Path 3. Soul Path 3, thank you, I felt that one. So we have the Ace of Wands, or Passion Ignited. It's a very fiery energy. You could be starting something new in the summer, a new project, a new job. You might have some new inspirations about something new that you want to pursue. But I really feel your inner fire is coming to life. I almost get Phoenix rising from the ashes here. So it's like something has been renewed. Your energy has been restored. Your passion for something has been restored. For some, you could be connecting with a new partner if that's something you're interested in. However, if not, I feel like you're going to have some new experiences this summer that are really going to inspire you and excite you, and maybe even spark a new passion. And I almost wonder if that's part of your spiritual transformation, is to find your inner light again, to find your inspiration, to find what lights you up. So you got 2 here. I will take 2. And look at that. We have the sun. So definitely a lot of fire energy happening in the summer. And we have 1 and 1, along with the waxing crescent. Let's see. We are going to pull one more card, but I'm not really sure if everything's going to fit here. No, that's not going to fit. So we'll just try to make it work here. So some questions to ask with the Sun card is, what gives you purpose? Maybe you are finding or exploring or discovering your purpose. And that is part of your spiritual journey, is that maybe you found your purpose or your mission. You're finding what brings you vitality and inspires your creativity. And the waxing crescent is also about setting your intentions and planting a new seed for what you want to accomplish during this cycle. So that is almost feeling very Ace of Wands, is that planting of that seed based in purpose. So very intentional. So get one more oracle card. Too many. Spirit, one oracle card For Soul Path 3, please. Yes, that's what I thought. Oh, spring. Oh, okay. So I think the seeds you plant now will come to fruition next spring. Lavender and rabbits could also be signs, a sign and symbol for you. Important sign and symbol. I'm going to do this. There we go. And I love how there's purple in both of these cards. But this is really seeing the things that you desire come to reality. That's not to say that this summer will just be about planting seeds and not having any fun in the process. I do think fun and passion and excitement is going to be part of your summer, but I think there's going to be an inspired idea that you have that you're going to start in the summer that's going to start seeing the light of day in spring, next spring. So that could be a new business that you're starting. Maybe you are getting connected with somebody and you start a new job next spring. So let's get into the reading now. Tarot. So Spirit, cards for Soul Path 3. Where are they currently at on their spiritual journey? Yeah, and maybe some... And since this is tied to your spiritual journey, you might not actually start to see things happen. You might start doing the work now and exploring things now, but you might not start to see things unfold in your spiritual journey until next spring. So the Page of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords are your two cards out. So I almost feel like you're wrestling with something here. Maybe, well, I mean, the Page of Pentacles is a very focused energy of knowing what you want and committing to that path. Being open-minded to learning new things along the way. Integrating lessons. I think this new path has to do with whatever passion it is that is igniting. And it's almost like you have found a new idea that will give you some kind of maybe inner security or outward security or both. Maybe even giving you a sense of purpose. But the Seven of Swords is kind of an energy of not really believing it or feeling like it's like you're telling yourself a lie. Or maybe other people are telling you that you shouldn't believe it, that maybe it's not practical, or maybe it's not logical. Or what are you doing? This doesn't make any sense. And so you have this childlike enthusiasm about taking a new path for something that is genuinely exciting you and aligned with your passion. But there's some energy around you that makes you feel maybe shameful about it or has you doubting yourself about it. Because maybe they think it's a pipe dream. You don't feel that way, but I feel their doubt is influencing you. So I think part of your spiritual journey will be to overcome that and come into your own truth. Okay, so then this is what you're stepping into on your spiritual transformation here. We have the Nine of Swords, which is rumination energy. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? They said this isn't going to work. I'm starting to believe it. The Seven of Swords has influenced you so much that it's turned into the Nine of Swords, where it's now starting to become stressful and worrisome for you. It may even start bubbling up anxiety within you because you did have a focus for something, for your purpose, to go on a mission for something. You want to maybe contribute to the world in some way, but people are telling you, no, this can't happen. And now it's become a mental burden. And to not be able to follow this has maybe hindered your progress. And so I think part of your spiritual journey is to keep that passion alive, because I feel like that passion is never going to go away if it's something that is aligned to your soul purpose. And so there's some fear that comes in when people tell you it doesn't make sense. Because maybe in your mind, once they express their concerns, you're like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. And then so you stop exploring it, you stop moving towards that, and it becomes anxious for you to avoid that soul passion of yours. And maybe almost stressful because you have this desire to do something that everybody else is telling you is wrong or not right or not safe or not logical or reasonable or something that doesn't make sense to them. So I feel like your soul journey is to keep that passion alive somehow. Keep moving towards it. Releasing the limiting beliefs. See? And this is the action to take, is to keep the faith, to keep hope alive, that it can be done. This is almost an exercise in proving the naysayers wrong. Because in your heart, you believe it. In your soul, you believe it to be true. You know it's going to work out. You know it's going to succeed. So it's not just about chasing rainbows and hoping that it all works out. I feel like you've got some kind of plan or strategy to achieve this. And this is your North Star. This is going to be an exercise in keeping the faith, of keeping this dream alive. Even if you're keeping it from people. That Seven of Swords, I almost wonder if that's part of the reason why that came out. Is because as soon as you start sharing it with people, you're going to have people telling you, no. Or it's not going to work, or it's wrong. Now, I will pose a question. Do you need to share it with people at this time? Or do you need to get your feet a little wet in this pathway before you start sharing? Maybe because it's in such a young stage, it might just be an idea right now. And you don't want to have that idea squashed until you have actually taken a few steps down the road and have started building up on that thing, have started exploring that path a little bit more. So this almost feels like a little bit of a detour. And I wonder what would happen if you didn't share this idea, this thought, this inspiration with people that don't, or will not support you. Do you need their opinion, advice, or guidance at this time? Maybe this needs to be a little more developed before you bring things to the table, if at all. Maybe that will help keep the hope and faith alive, the dream alive, and help you move towards that North Star a little bit more, so that you yourself can prove that this is the right way, rather than having that dream squashed before you even get started. So your spiritual transformation is maybe about doing things differently than you did before. Maybe you are somebody who likes to express themselves, who likes to share their ideas. And this might be a little counterintuitive to not share this beautiful idea with others when you think of it, because you're so excited. You are so happy that you have discovered this passion, this mission, this purpose. How can you not share that? But it's almost like the transformation is in the secrecy. And that's not to be manipulative or deceive people in any way. This is about you keeping it to yourself for a moment. Looking at these cards too, I'm almost getting a feeling of pregnancy, that there will be a pregnancy that could be quite sensitive. So you'd want to keep that to yourself until such time that it feels safe for you to share that. And then 9 months later, springtime, you will be blessed with abundance, with a new baby. That is for some of you, not all of you. One more card, Queen of Cups. And that is part of the advice or the inspiration, is to have that internal knowing, to trust that intuition, to trust your creativity enough where you know that it's going to be successful in spite of what others might think. So if you do happen to share it, try not to internalize what people say especially the naysayers. I think that it's important to discern who is looking out for you out of love and who is still going to support you along this journey, and who is there to crush your dreams and to keep you small because of their own fears. That is what the Queen of Cups does, is she discerns what's her own feeling and emotions and intuitions about things versus what are others, what's not needed. I'll take that person's advice because it makes sense, and I value their opinion. I value the fact that they are trying to protect me. So I will make sure to do XYZ because it's important, and I feel that it makes good sense. But I'm going to let this other thing go because I can see the fact that this person is saying this because they don't want me to succeed. Or they are sharing this because of their own fears and experiences, or their own failures. So I'm just going to put that aside. So the Queen of Cups is very good at knowing herself, knowing what to take action on, emotionally speaking, and what not to. Knowing how to hold space for herself, and almost have those emotional boundaries to know who to keep close and who to keep away. Especially because I feel you have some people around you that aren't very supportive. Bottom of the deck, we've got the Emperor. Big energy. And this Emperor isn't just about creating wealth for the sake of it and putting that energy and effort into creating that wealth because they want to get rich. This is about building something of value. And this is about getting people on board to help you with that effort. I think what you're doing might be quite big, and your spiritual transformation, your spiritual journey is going to help in this creation. This is Aries energy as well, and Aries is very bold, courageous, determined, driven. A lot of fire in that. It is also very assertive, and knowing what they want and going out and getting it. Not to trample on people, but to be very diplomatic about not settling and not giving up on their dreams. And this is part of your transformation. You're moving from the Page of Pentacles to the Emperor, is what I'm feeling here. Or at least Page of Pentacles to the Queen of Cups. And I feel like your wish is to let go of this stress and anxiety that I feel others are instilling within you. And move to this energy of this beautiful energy of holding space for those difficult conversations that you have with people, and to know what's in your heart, to follow that heart. That will lead you to the kingdom that you're trying to build and create here. So let's get a clarifier for the Page of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords. What's going on there? For Soul Path 3. Nope. Thank you. Eight of Wands in reverse. So this is manifestation energy. This is travel, movement. You're blocked. You're excited, but you're blocked. And I think it has that Seven of Swords is in there, throwing a wrench in the entire thing. So again, I'm going to come back to, I think it does clarify the fact that if you involve too many people or too many of the wrong people in this thought, idea, aspiration, it could possibly have the potential to stop you in your tracks. And so if that happens where there is doubt that gets instilled in you, I feel like you do have a choice. And this Queen of Cups is going to be your guiding light. Do I choose to take this in as advice that I want to follow? Or do I want to move beyond it and continue to have faith in my dream, my feelings, my intuition about this? Or do I choose not to say anything at all and just go about my merry way until such time that I've built up enough confidence in myself or removed my own self-doubt and fear from this equation? And we have Nine of Swords, the Devil. I definitely feel like there's some people here that have somebody around them that's not healthy for them. And that is the driving force of this Nine of Swords, this anxiety and worry and stress. I don't know who it is, but you're definitely attached to somebody that triggers this in you. So I think it's a bit of sticky energy that I think you have to be aware of. And that's either something that you have to understand as part of the journey, so therefore you need to find ways to navigate around that somehow, to deal with that when these things come up, and to bring that emotional strength in for yourself to be able to maintain the dream, or you need to avoid this energy altogether if you can, because it's only going to halt your progress, it's going to stifle your ambition, and maybe even move you away from this altogether. Star. Let's get a clarifier for the star. I'm getting strength energy. I'm also getting the sun energy. So let's see what comes out. Ooh, Six of Swords. Yeah. This is about moving away from things that are not serving this purpose, this mission, this dream that you are so soulfully driven to move towards. And this is almost a mindset shift that you're moving through. And we have Swords energy again, but this is a positive sword energy, because this is something that you've brought awareness to, you've brought some consciousness into, and you're moving away from. It might not be easy. It might not be what you ideally wanted, maybe in this connection of whoever this is. But in order to achieve your dream, you have to eliminate those energies that are keeping you small and held back. And that may not mean physically moving away from, that may just mean eliminating them from this journey and doing your own thing, moving towards the thing that you feel best moving towards, trusting yourself, trusting your feelings, trusting where you're being led, and surrendering to whatever falls away and whatever comes in the process. Let's see, Queen of Cups. What's she about, dear Spirit? Queen of Cups. Too many. Queen of Cups, please. Queen of Cups. Yeah, I think this is just confirmation. Queen of Cups and the Death card here. Now, the Death card is essentially decay. And decay can take a period of time. This isn't something that comes in like the Tower and shakes things up and blows things apart so that you can put it back together again in a new way. This is something that degrades over time. And I feel like this is the energy that has almost degraded your spirit, your energy, your mental health over time. And so this is almost rising above that, letting that energy go for good, transforming or transmuting this difficulty into something better, bringing back your passion for life, your courage, your strength, your bravery, because this isn't easy. The Death card. And understanding that what happens above the surface, out in the world, your interactions with people, your experiences, does affect your internal world, does affect your trust levels, your intuition, your anxiety levels. So be very aware of who you spend time with, who you let into your emotional center. What I love about this reading is that you ended with the Emperor, which is power. So much power that you can create anything you wish. But be careful with that power. With great power comes great responsibility. So what are you going to do with that power? I think you already know. And I think your spiritual journey is about overcoming attachments that no longer serve you and your higher self, your higher purpose, and coming into your own trust, your own power, your own intuition, following that with great authority, sovereignty, control, diplomacy, and not allowing anyone to shake that. Really powerful. Deep knowing, there's your Queen of Cups. I think you do have a deep knowing about who this person is, and generally, where you want to go from here, what you want to do. Maybe this is somewhat of a comfort zone with this environment, this person, this experience. But for you to follow your spiritual growth, to do the spiritual transformation you're looking to do, it will require you to follow your deep knowing, what you know to be true. And again, this is a very hypersensitive energy. So you could be very psychic, very intuitive, very sensitive to the world around you. All the more reason to protect yourself with energies that are not great for you. And I think you have been, or you have some understanding about some information. Maybe it's this soul journey or this passion or purpose that you're following that, yeah, it doesn't make logical sense to you or the five senses, but it's so true and correct for you that you have no choice but to follow it. So the trick is to listen to it and then act. Take actionable steps towards that and trust. Ask for help if you need it, for guidance. So one more card to end your reading. Soul Path 3. For Soul Path 3, strongest. Thank you. Passion and pleasure. Savor your life. Yeah. I mean, there's that passion. I almost feel like these two are kind of one and the same. This is like, you have a new passion for life. And this is you here having this passion, this idea, this seed, this internal desire, and this is you living it. You want to live out your passions and pleasures in life and be in community with people that you love. So you could be finding community that is much more supportive than whenever this energy is, and really living your fullest life here. I feel like the spiritual transformation is moving you out of energies that weigh heavy on the mind and moving you towards more heart-centered connections that are fulfilling and joyful and that allow you to step into your own power, that holds space for you and your expressions, your intuitions, your authenticity. The process isn't going to be easy, I don't feel, but I feel they will be rewarding. And I was going to say rewarded. So if you are willing to commit to that, to follow your heart, to trust yourself, to move towards your passions and your purpose, that you will not only feel fulfilled, but you will be rewarded. So this is what I have for you, Soul Path 3. I hope you found some clarity and guidance today, and with gratitude, I'm sending you my love, and we'll see you in your next reading.